Hello, this is Jeff from Studio 41 Gaming, and we're finally back with the next set of Pokemon reviews. That is Gen 3. We're looking at Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and the remakes. But Gen 3 was actually the first generation of Pokemon I ever owned. That's right, I had to wait all the way until 2003. Yeah, and I beat all three of these games 6 ways to Sunday, especially Pokemon Emerald. But we're going to be looking at these three first before we get to those games. Let's get started. This could take a while.
So in Gen 3, you're facing Team Magma if you're playing Pokemon Ruby, Team Aqua if you're playing Pokemon Sapphire, and both of them if you're playing Pokemon Emerald. Now, these two teams, what they're trying to do just makes zero sense at all. Team Magma is trying to expand all the world's land masses for man, unknowingly that water is kind of essential to human life. Now, Team Aqua is trying to get rid of the land masses and make there be more room for Pokemon. Apparently, they don't care about Pokemon on land, and that man is going to have to then live in boats. And basically, these two teams just suck. They really they make no sense at all. Maxie is the only one who even seems a little bit intimidating just because he's really stoic. But they're trying to conquer the world using Poochyena and Zubats. So they fall into the same trap as Team Rocket, and that is, we apparently are immune to using good Pokemon. Gen 3 was also the first generation to have personalities for your Pokemon. Basically, these natures, as they're called, give Pokemon their own unique personality, but also give stat increases and decreases. Except for some that actually don't have any effect at all, like the Serious nature. It raises your Pokemon's speed stat, but also decreases it, so it basically does nothing. But let's say you have an Espeon. Espeon is a psychic type, so it typically uses special attack more than its normal attack. So the Modest nature would be a really good nature for your Espeon because it will essentially boost its special attack stat, making its psychic attacks more powerful while lowering its attack stat, which just isn't very important to a psychic type. Another mechanic introduced in Gen 3 is Pokemon abilities. Basically, each Pokemon has its own unique ability that will add a different effect based on, well, what it is. Like, let's say the Limber Pokemon ability prevents the Pokemon from being paralyzed. So that's actually pretty nice if you're to go up against electric types. Whereas there's another ability like Water Absorb, where if the Pokemon's hit by a water attack, it'll restore HP. A lot of these abilities can actually be bred, and that's really where the power of them comes in, because if you put the time in, you can breed really weird abilities on different Pokemon. One famous one I actually heard from was when I was waiting for the Pokemon X and Y midnight release. This guy was there who was talking me and my friend's ears off about Pokemon, and he actually somehow managed to breed a Water Absorb Houndoom. Yeah. That would be kind of ridiculous, but that's just how breeding in Pokemon is. One of the biggest changes in Gen 3 was the addition of 135 new Pokemon, which then brought the total up to 386. Yeah, far cry from like the 700 plus it is now. Back then, you could actually almost still catch them all. But I have to say, a lot of these new Pokemon designs are awesome. There are really no bad designs in Gen 3, unlike now. But some of my favorites are Absol, Blaziken, Swampert, and Milotic, which is pretty good also. But there are also some Pokemon in Gen 3 that are flat broken. One of them is my previously mentioned Swampert. Alright, the three starters of Gen 3 are Torchic, Trico, and Mudkip. Overall, I like them all. My least favorite being Sceptile, the final evolution of Trico. He just really isn't that good. I like Grovyle actually a lot more. But Blaziken and Swampert are freaking badass. Blaziken being the first fire fighting final evolution, whereas Swampert, get this, is water and ground. What is the big problem with that? Well, it makes him immune to electricity. That's right. Swampert has one weakness, and that is grass. Yes, that is about as OP as you can get. Swampert, listen, I love the design of Blaziken, but Swampert is definitely my favorite final starter form in Gen 3. He is the highest I have ever hand-trained a Pokemon. I actually trained, I think it was my Pokemon Sapphire Swampert, all the way up to level 94. By hand. Yeah, no cheat codes. Yes, it took forever. Another addition in Gen 3 is Pokemon contests. I'll be honest, I don't care about these at all. Basically, you can just win some ribbons, and you just train your Pokemon's form, if you would, up. Basically, each move has a contest type. Some are like, one's cool, one's tough, one's smart. It's all it's there if you're interested in it, but honestly, I don't care about Pokemon contests at all. It doesn't have any effect on the main game. Just, it's there if you're interested in it. Another addition is weather effects. Like, if it's raining, water moves will be powered up. If it's sunny, fire moves are powered up, and you can also get an instant solar beam. Yeah. That's a little OP. One of the most favored things in Gen 3 is to get a Solar Beam Groudon. Because Groudon, when he enters the battle, makes it sunny. So basically, it's just free Solar Beams for everyone. There's also double battles introduced in Gen 3 where 2 Pokemon are used by each trainer. These are really awesome. And it's also one of the best ways to completely snap this game in two. You see, there's these 2 reporters in Gen 3 called Gabby and Ty. They go around and initially you fight them in 3 different locations. One is north of Mauville, one is east of Mauville across the lake or river or whatever it is, and one is east of Fort Tree City. Now, once you get Fly, you can basically fly around and battle these guys non-stop. They eventually max out, I think, at like level 40 with an Explode and a Magneton. And they give insane XP. You can grind these guys and just throw the EXP share, which you get in this generation was introduced and isn't completely snapped into. Just throw that bad boy on your weakest Pokemon and just fly around and battle these guys for about an hour, and you will level that thing up like crazy. And really, that's almost the name of the game in Gen 3, is grind. Because also, in the Pokénav that was introduced in this generation, and this is only in Gen 3 by the way, there's this thing called the Trainer's Eyes. Basically, every time you battle someone, it's basically like the jacked up version of the phone from Gen 2. You can then battle these guys again, and they're all registered in the Trainer's Eyes thing. I think it's after the 5th gym, this is activated, you can start battling these people all over again. And this is everyone you have battled. And when I mean everyone, I mean everyone. That includes gym leaders. You can battle gym leaders again, and yes, they give a ton of XP. So you can basically just run around and wait for these to go off, and you can just go fly to wherever these people are and battle them again. My favorite place to do this is actually the route west of Mauville City. Basically, there's just a ton of trainers here, and they all seem to their Trainer's Eyes thing will go off almost like every 15 or 20 minutes, it seems like. You can just battle these people non-stop. Just basically battle them, go fly off, continue what you were doing, check it, fly back, battle them, fly back. It's just insane. This also has to go with Gen 3, let's just say, well, get ready for the grind, because random encounter rate in Gen 3 is insane. I battled Pokemon just by turning on a spot, for Christ's sake. You don't even have to, like, take a step. You just have to turn your direction, and you can encounter a Pokemon. You will have to be careful in this generation, because the scaling can be a bit off. Like Norman, he was way higher level than I was, and I battled all of his gym trainers. It's just how it is. And he can be a bit of a pain in the ass too, because he uses the normal type. So you better have a fighting type to freaking battle him. Thank God I had Combuskin. And I was also able to cheese the ever-living hell out of his second Slaking. But it does ease up a little bit after Norman, but Norman is really the big test of Gen 3, because his Pokemon will generally be way higher level than yours. And there's just no good place to grind Pokemon yet. One thing I do beef with Gen 3 a little bit, though, is HMs. Yeah, you remember these things from Gen 1 and Gen 2? Yeah, you hated them then. Well, get ready to hate the ever-living hell out of them in Gen 3. A lot of these HMs just flat out suck. Now, Strength and Surf both are still very good. Fly is also very good for your flying Pokemon. Flash sucks. Rock Smash sucks. Waterfall is okay. Teach it to a Gyarados and watch you frickin' just completely crush everything. But some of these just are not very good, and there's a lot of them. There are 8 HMs in all of these freaking games. Luckily, though, they do make a little bit more sense in terms of using them, like Waterfall to go up a waterfall. Surf is still makes sense, but it's just still annoying. Cut is still very annoying and not a very good move. The 8 gym leaders you face in Gen 3 are Roxanne, Brawly, Watson, Flannery, your dad, Norman. Yes, you actually have a dad in Gen 3. Winona, Tate and Liza, which is a double battle of psychic Pokemon. And, depending on which game you're playing against, Wallace or Juan. Now, in Ruby and Sapphire, you play against Wallace. In Emerald, you face Juan. It actually is kind of a cool story element where Wallace hands down the gym to Juan in Pokemon Emerald. But these two, my god. Okay, if you think Norman is a bit of a challenge, my god, you have never faced Wallace or Juan. And that is because of 2 things. Wallace, he has a Whiscash and a Milotic. Now, Whiscash is water and ground. Yes, if you use an electric type, you will get destroyed. That thing has, oh my god. That thing is the destroyer of freaking dreams. I hate his Whiscash. His Milotic is a pain, but I hate his Whiscash because it knows Earthquake, and oh my god, it destroys electric types. Juan isn't much better. You see, he has a Whiscash as well, but he also has a Kingdra. Yeah, level 46 Kingdra. It is like 4 levels higher than any other Pokemon he even has. And that thing will destroy your life. Oh my lord. But Wallace and Juan are, without a doubt, I believe the hardest gym leaders in any Pokemon game I have ever played. They are insane. It's that time. Let's get in to the remakes, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now, when I first heard that the Gen 3 remakes were coming out, I was stoked. My first generation of Pokemon in my mind, was getting the retouch that Gen 2 got with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. That was what I wanted. What I got, putting it simply, I freaking hated it. Okay, so Mega Evolutions are... when these first came out, I thought they were a pretty cool idea, you know? Mega Evolutions, where you could just make one of your Pokemon just God mode for one battle and completely crush everything in its way. Looking back on it now, Nintendo, Game Freak, whoever had the idea has completely screwed it up. It goes a bit like this. Every starter has a Mega Evolution. Now, makes sense, right? All starters are basically people's favorite Pokemon usually. The problem, they don't need it. They already have 2 evolutions, and you give them another one that just makes them freaking even more godly than they already are. Here's an example of a good choice for a Mega Evolution Pokemon. Mawile. He doesn't have a Mega Evolution, so Mawile getting a Mega Evolution makes perfect sense. It balances him. Bad choice. Charizard. Mewtwo. Every starter ever. Ampharos. Garchomp. That is a bad choice. These Pokemon don't need Mega Evolutions. It just makes them even better than they already are. And for the love of God, why would you give Garchomp a Mega Evolution? He's already one of the most hated Pokemon simply due to the fact that he's Dragon and Ground and has insane stats across the board. It's in Gen 3, the remakes got an entire storyline redone for Mega Evolutions. It's so unnecessary. And they add a character that... I got Omega Ruby, okay? And they add a character, one of the admins of Team Magma that wasn't even in the games to begin with. They make Maxie a complete and total idiot. And, I mean, oh, come on. He already has enough criticism due to the fact that he's trying to get rid of water, which is, you know, only necessary for life. So it's so stupid. And then they just making him a complete and total dork, so it makes him even more powerless. And the top-down 3D isometric look is not working for Pokemon at all. Pokemon is really starting to lose its charm. If there's one thing you can say about Gen 1 through Gen 3, it's that they all have charm. Even in Gen 4 and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, it still had it. Gen 5, you could see it still had a little bit, but it's starting to lose a little bit with a bit of a darker storyline, but that storyline was so good that it made up for it. In Gen 6, it's starting to fall apart. Battles are starting to take way longer also due to these animations that are playing out. And Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it just feels like it's gone. They're trying too hard to make these games cute, and they're starting to lose sight of what was important this entire time. Back to the original 3 for a moment. If I can talk about 2 things that I can absolutely say are perfect about these games, is the graphics and the music. They are amazing in these games. The music is just perfect. Now, Gen 1 I know is got the nostalgia value, but Gen 3 I think soundtrack could be as good, if not better, than Gen 1. Just something with they added in, like, it sounds like some bells to allow the music, and Slateport City I think has it perfect. And it's so fun. I love it so much. But the graphics also are very good, and this is for 16-bit. Everything looks very, very detailed. Pokemon sprites are amazing. Environments and buildings are rendered perfectly. I don't know if rendered is actually the right way to put that or not, since this is a cartridge game, but everything looks and sounds amazing in these games. So in conclusion, I freaking love these games. I can't totally let nostalgia blind me though. Gen 2, I think, does it just a little bit better with being able to play in Johto and Kanto. Just that amount of value is unbelievable. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I bow down to you. I still think you're the two best Pokemon games ever made. But Pokemon Emerald is... Emerald specifically because it is the definitive version of playing Gen 3. These three games all are fantastic, but Emerald is, I believe, the third best Pokemon game ever made. Yeah, I know I might make some people mad by saying that, but Gen 3 as a whole, all three of these games are freaking fantastic. Gen 3 does it a little bit better with the more definitive storyline. But if you haven't played these games, like, seriously, what the hell are you doing? Go out and buy them. I picked up this copy of Ruby. I'm going to talk about my history of Gen 3 a little bit here. But I owned all three of them and sold them stupidly. And I picked up this copy of Ruby for 20 bucks. Amazing value. If you ever see these games that cheap, get them. Don't even think twice about it. But Pokemon Ruby was the first Pokemon game I ever owned, and god damn it, I fucking love it. And Gen 3's Pokemon Emerald is my most played Pokemon game of all time. You see, back in the day, I used to believe beating a Pokemon game meant starting with each starter and playing the game through with each starter. And I did that for... I think I did it with Gold, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and I think I did it with Pearl. I can't remember if I did it with Platinum, but I stopped doing that with Black, I think. Now with Pokemon Emerald, I did that with each starter, and then on my final starter, that file I had over 200 hours played on it. Yeah, that's a lot. And it's also the closest I ever came to completing the Pokédex. Either one of them. For the Hoenn-Dex, I think I was like 17 Pokemon away from completing the Hoenn-Dex. And then for the National, I think I was like 35 to 40 away from completing the National Dex. And I stupidly sold it on eBay. Now, everybody is going to facepalm so hard here when they hear this. I sold it on eBay. Are you listening? Please listen. I sold it on eBay with the cart, the original box, and the Nintendo Power that had an entire feature on Pokemon Emerald for $35. Yeah. I was stupid 5 years ago. But, yeah, I would do anything to take that one back. But I haven't even seen a Pokemon Emerald in a store in like 2 years, so if I saw it, I would buy it instantly, but god damn it, I really fucked up. But I love these freaking games. Again, I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver do it a little bit better, but for Gen 3, you can't go wrong. If you can get Emerald, get it. If not, get Ruby or Sapphire. You will not regret it. If you love Pokemon and you haven't played these, what are you doing? Play them now. This is Jeff from Studio 41 Gaming. Thanks for watching.